Well, hello all. Welcome to the Just Jump In live stream. And when you get in, remember to say hello in the chat so that I know you're here and can shout you out. But happy Friday to everybody. So today we'll go over our progress on our cab car build for the NMRA Achievement Program. We'll talk about another project, and then we'll jump into our show and tell, which is what is in your blue bin in your house or in your apartment. And we'll go through what fun projects I have in mind. Will Creek, welcome. Welcome to the show. How are you doing tonight? So this is a real quick update on the cab car. So I am waiting for basically the 3D printed light housings that I'll put on the ditch lights here, and I'll actually end up drilling these out a little bit so that you can see them depressed in there, and then I'll put in the 3mm LEDs in those, and then we'll be able to move on and do some of that detailing. I don't remember if I had mentioned it, but we did some preliminary looks at some of the details that are going to go on the front of the cab car that I was attempting to 3D print, and they're too small for the nozzle. And there goes my weird light again, and I don't understand why it does that. But anyway, so I'm going to have to go back to the styrene to build those. And then we'll have to talk about the windows on here as well and what we're going to do with the windows. The windows that have come with this these kits are dark, and I'd rather you be able to see in. I will do these wires aren't going to be this long, I don't believe. I'll be able to shorten them up so that they'll reach the decoder I decide to put in here, and then we're going to put a light strip at the top for the cab, for the lighting, for the seating in here as well. And then we'll have to figure out what we're going to do for the seating in there to wrap this build up. So definitely when you're working on these for the achievement program, these are going to take, well, when you're working on them in general, these take a long time to do. So when I do the rest of the cars, since they're not going to be cab cars, I will only have strip lights, and there it goes, the light back on. It'll only have a strip of lights at the top, LED lights at the top. I won't have to worry about lights on the ends of the cars. So, and I won't have to do the modifications that I did, quite the same modifications. I'll still have to work on the center doors for each one, but and then even on the underbody, there's a little bit less detail. For instance, there's only one middle air reservoir, not 3 air reservoirs, and any cars that don't have a bathroom in them, I don't have to build and add the wastewater system. So so those will be a little bit different, and they won't have the same front ends and detail and all of that. So that's where we are at with this build. Hi, Mom. How are you? So yeah, so he has to get the he has to order the filament too, and then we'll start the printing process. So I didn't expect it to be a quick process to get those, but so I may end up, there by the time he prints them, and so we'll see how that goes. Um, so, come mid-September, I'll be taking a trip out east to visit my mother and visit family out in New Jersey. So, we'll probably not have a live stream while I'm out there. So that'll be either 1 or 2 weeks that I will probably not have the live stream. If I do any model railroading or train related stuff, I'll try to remember to get some pictures together for to share with the crowd. All right, so I talked about last week, kind of, I was asking all of you, what do you do when when you're working on a project and you have to wait for the glue to dry, or you have to wait for a part and things like that. And and if we have to do that with every build that we do, well, we'd never finish the projects we're doing. So I'm pushing forward and doing another project, and it's a project I'm doing for a third time. And that is, I'm following a clinic from the Lonestar region of the NMRA, and building a flat car. Now I can use a flat car on my. It's a little bit shorter. It's a 55.5 foot flat car, so it's going to look a bit shorter, maybe a bit older, but it still can be used on the on my layout and make sense, because there's a number of things I could do with it. It could carry maintenance of way equipment. Some things that other folks did with the clinic is they added sides and ends and made gondolas out of them. And so I could do that. I could build another one and and have two cars out of that, and one be a flat car, one be a gondola. Gondolas are used by all railroads, whether you're, traveling ballast, or you're traveling garbage, or you're traveling ties or whatever. There's always a use for them. So that'll fit really well. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So what I will do is, first I will go over to, I'll share with you where this is, and then let me put in the chat the link that I'll have up, and I'll leave it up for those of who want to go just type it in for whatever reason. Hey, Dwight, welcome to the live stream. Nice to see you here. So, okay, so let's go back to what I was doing here. And so we're going to show you we're going to share with you the clinic here. I'm going to try. So make sure we can see it. Okay, so this is why don't we get me out of there? And we will get that out of there as well. So this is your Lonestar Region page. Over here on the side, they'll have clinics. You click on that, and there are tons of clinics that come up. And I haven't looked at them. I looked at a couple, and there's certainly a bunch to go through here. But somewhere towards the top here are the flat car clinics that I'm working on. And so they kind of look like this, and they open up to like a PDF type reader. And you can make them full screen. You can make them, you can play with this for how you view it. I use my cell phone for it, and it looks great on there. But they tell you how to measure things um, for your scale, and you can see they put Z to G in here, and then they tell you which ones you know, what styrene to get. Um, and then they tell you all the measures and where to measure and where to cut. And again, each step that you're doing, they give you this. Um, so now, you know, you moved on from cutting the beams to, okay, now they want to do the horizontal bracing. So it tells you, okay, so mine's HO, I need 020 by 100. And then even on some of them, and so they give you all kinds of views. There are some things that you have to guess once in a while or have to know just from building, but it's not too out there. And some of it's just the visual. It's hard to see on here, but they try to give you um, the end views and things like that so that you can see what you're doing. And then I think it's more in the second part, the second session is what they call them. They actually give you the part numbers for Plastruct or Evergreen styrene. And give you all the measures. So you want to have something to convert, and you want to have something to measure stuff as precisely as possible. Because I can tell you when you're off slightly, it throws everything off. So that is the clinic. And if we go back here, I'll show you. So you go into, you finish the first session, and you go and you click on session 2. And so you can see here, look, they're telling you the Evergreen styrene and the part number and everything here. And it takes you through each thing you need to do here. And again, gives you all the views. And I can tell you that I'm on the second session, and I'm right here. And I also got stuck on this one of the other times I tried. So again, I tried to do this 2 other times, and I just really wasn't prepared for it. But I got stuck there. So let's take a look at what I did. But let's say hello. Hey, Tim, welcome to the live stream. Nice to see you here. So let's take a look here. This is just some slides again of where I got to and the steps that I was doing. And so here are my cuts, and you can tell all kinds of problems I had with these. These aren't going to be perfectly the same. And even on one of them, and I'm not sure you can tell, I think it's over on the left side where it actually bent and came apart. And I got lazy and I actually glued it back together, and it's fine, but it's not great. If I was doing this smartly, I would have started over and gotten another strip of styrene and cut that again. But it's still serviceable. Here I am with channel styrene, putting them together, creating the center beam in there with 2 of them, and then the 2 sides. And here's the start of the cross beam. And these cuts get really, really tiny. So they basically want you to cut like 1 edge, 2 inches. And so you have an angle cut on the bottom here. So it's taller by 2 scale inches on the inside. And then one thing I did wrong on this session, or this third attempt, is when I started gluing these in, you can see I have this upside down, and so it's flat to the table, but it actually wants you to recess it, and it should be flat to these strips at the bottom, that creates the I-beam or H-beam, whatever you want to call it. So I had to pull, and I actually was through 4 of them. I threw a whole side, and I actually pulled them all off, sanded them, and re-glued them in. And here you can see me gluing them in and trying to get them as straight as absolutely possible that I could. And then there's additional really thin styrene on the bottom of those. Here I'm flipping it back over. The cross beams on the 2 cross beams have another flat piece of styrene in the middle. And so here's another place where I struggled. So these are actually like angle pieces, and they actually want you to do 2 on each side. And I didn't understand why, and I was having trouble spacing them. So I went with just 1. The other thing is that there is with this center beam piece that's raised up a little bit with that strip of styrene, it's supposed to be raised up enough so you can put these in and glue them in place without having to put grooves in them in these cross beams to hold them in. And it said that you certainly could do that if you need to. And I definitely need to, because they were raised too far above, and getting one side of a really thin, and I think that was an 1/8 inch angle piece. That's really thin, and very flimsy, and trying to get that to stand up on its own was impossible. So by the time I was putting these grooves in, they were like giant grooves. So I wasn't able to do a good job and leave room for a second support. And you can even see that I didn't even get them straight here. You can see really a lot on the bottom one and the top right as well. They're not super straight. And if this is being reviewed for merit, that construction piece, I'm not going to get any points. I mean, I'll get a few, but I'm going to be dinged a lot, because they'll actually turn the car over. They'll look at the support structure, and and they'll look at the fact that maybe I didn't do 2 supports under there, and that sort of thing. And I do certainly want to try and get them to merit. I just don't think this will merit. But that's okay. I still need to need to build the cars. So I'll still build this, and I'll still continue on with this one. Now, so here's where this became difficult. So they wanted you to use this channel styrene to add additional bracing, and where the 2 long angle pieces would come in handy is it would balance this out. So when I was trying to glue this, I had to kind of balance it on that one and glue it on the sides the proper way. So that proved to be a challenge. I did get through it. And hey, Ken, welcome to the chat. So you said, so your concern is that they weigh so light because of all the styrene you're using. But as a flat car, there's no reason you can't use a load to be your, to be your weight. You certainly could do that and put the weight in there. You could use some thin weighting. So I'm thinking just a metal weight that's a long piece of metal weight that you put underneath the wood. If you can get a thin enough one, you could add the weight. But I would build one and put a load on it and put the weight in the load. You know, one of these cars, that the one that didn't fit, if you remember, had the guy who had it before me, or girl who had it before me, whoever it was, used pennies as their weight, and they put it in there. And of course, as a passenger car, I get that, but yeah, just find something else to get the right weight to it. Maybe you could, I haven't gotten through the full build. If there's room underneath to put a false floor, maybe, and put some weights in there. And again, they'd have to be a small amount in each, basically, pocket. But I think there are things you certainly could try to do. But yeah, it could end up being light. You might even be able to use a denser wood too to add a little bit. That'll add only a little bit of weight, but certainly a possibility. So the next step is there's sort of an underbody, not an underbody, but a subfloor, I guess you would say, and it's designed so that you have a place to create your pockets for the sides, and so here I am measuring things out to get those in there. We're dealing with such small measures. Maybe build an old blue box weight. Yeah. So that's what I was kind of thinking, just along the lines of like I have on the cars, on the passenger cars. Certainly a potential there. And so here I am, pencil marking everything out. Now, the other thing that's frustrating when you're handling pencil mark stuff, you you tend to, especially on styrene, because of the surface, that plastic surface, it comes off very easily. So I was marking them pretty dark to get to that. And then I'll show you this live here, but this is where I ended up. And again, this is about a third or so through the second session out of the 4 sessions. So again, here it is, and I'll try to give you some up close, and I apologize for my own shake. But like I said, this is my 3rd attempt at doing this clinic, and I'm really trying to stick to it since I'm not building anything else. But it's really all the underbody stuff. And then, building out the stake pockets. Which is just a really thin, and I've probably already lost that piece, but the stake pockets are so small that they actually have you gluing 2 pieces of channel styrene together, instead of recommending a specific size tube of styrene to put through there. And then once we move into that, then the next steps are going to be, on top and working on the wood. So I got some scale lumber for that as well. I kind of went on I got my allowance, and I had $20 I was able to spend and get the styrene and the parts that I needed, except for some of the detail parts that I'll need. I already have the brake system. I don't know if it's in my other room, but I think it's it might be Tichy or Details West type of thing, and it'll have the brake details, and they're older, so I don't think that'll matter as much if I'm just showing the car. If maybe somebody would have a problem with it if they're looking and saying, oh, this is prototype. You wouldn't have a car that old with that braking system, but it is what it is. So I'll do that. I'll have to get the trucks for this at some point, but I got to build those bolsters, and that's not been an easy task. So that's where I got stopped stopped myself this week. So you say, Willow Creek, you say your tip is when to scribe your mark, rub a pencil over it, and wipe, and the pencil will stay in the scribe mark. Gotcha. Yep. You can certainly do that. Absolutely. But so you can, I don't know if you can, I'm sure you can't see it with my camera here, but some of them are really light on the edges. They're still there, and so I think I'm good, but they're very light just from handling. But that's what I worked on this week. And some of the other problems I had was because these long beams weren't exactly the same size. Some of them, just to get them right, had to be sanded down a little bit. They're slightly off. These edges, or these ends, aren't perfectly square. I don't know if we can see that. See there on that end, it's probably too hard to see on this camera. But this is kind of bending that way a little bit, but still not too bad. And to be able to do this in a week was pretty good as well. So that's what I worked on this week. And so the idea is keep finding the projects that I need to work on for the merit stuff, because if I sit still and wait for stuff, I'm going to get through a quarter of my layout by the time I can't do anything anymore. So that would be my advice to people is find projects to do. If you need to fix things, go back to them and fix things, while other stuff, you're waiting on other stuff. So that's what got me motivated to go back and try this again. I thought that if I could do this kind of detailing, that my only demon is the cutting of the styrene. I just have to get better at that. But if I could do all this detail in here, I should be able to do that. And and as I look at this and talk to you, there's some things that are not square and straight, and they're driving me nuts, but I'll get over it. But so I would encourage anybody to, have other projects available to work on, so that, you don't get behind, you don't feel stale, you don't feel frustrated that you're not getting something done. And that would be my advice when you jump in and do this. And I know that there are a few more people than we started out with, so if you want to say hi in the chat, I would appreciate it, so I know you're here and hanging out. But let's go ahead and move on to our show and tell. And our show and tell this week is going to be what's in your blue box. And so also or your blue bin. So please, in the chat, throw out what your blue bin has in it, and that you promise yourself you're going to build and it got buried because it didn't quite fit, or on your layout, or that sort of thing. So I will be right back with you. All right. Well, here we are. Here's my bin. I don't actually have it in a blue bin. I'll have to get me one of those blue bins because it's starting to pile up here. So let's take a look at what we got here. So the first thing I have in my blue bin, which I don't know if Gopher Girl made it tonight. So she's had a little dental procedure that's kind of knocked her out. But when she got me the Interaction Hobby Christmas gifts, they had some offers, free offers. And so they had this Christmas tree farm shack. And so that's waiting to be built. I didn't get it built during Christmas. So that's the first thing that's in there. And you can see it's a mostly all wood kit. There's a little bit of plastic in there, but it's like most of their kits, it's all wood. These are kind of neat. These Christmas trees are basically just two pieces that cross each other. And then you have a caboose that's made into a Christmas tree shop, and I think they have a sign for a coffee shop in there as well. But that's been sitting in my blue bin sitting in my pile since Christmas. Next, I have this here. This is a Menards HO scale building. It's a flat. It certainly says and that there are M&Ms there, so of course that attracted me. An M&M's warehouse. I don't think I could work there. And it comes with the different billboards on here. And so these are all designed to be cheaper. The owner of Menards is a model railroad fan. And he wanted to do something that he could provide to people that was cheaper than what was out there. And so he has a line mostly of O scale stuff, but there's some HO scale stuff. And if you go online, you may be able to find some other things that they've tried out. They might have some N scale or something that they've tried out. So you can go on their website. Every store is different. My store has very little HO scale stuff. It's almost all O scale stuff. And they only have it for a short time because they put seasonal stuff. So they put in summer toys, and that's before the summer starts, and it goes to well after the summer ends. So I'm still waiting for them to put stuff up. And I always look. I always want to buy. They always have a ton of rolling stock there, and I always want to buy rolling stock and try to detail them and weather them. My fear is that I'll really want to get into it, and while the cars are much more affordable than a lot of the other rolling stock out there, there's no room in where I live for it. But this, being HO scale, I wanted to put this towards the back of my module where a train could drop off and pick up stuff. And inside there's LED lighting under here. There's some pictures on the inside to make it look like an office to see in the office. The details around the doors, though, those are stickers. So I definitely want to modify that to make them a little more realistic. That was the justification for buying this. But with other plans and trying other things, this got on the back burner and got buried as well. So that's the next thing that's in my blue box. Hey, Gopher Girl made it. She's still awake. Woohoo! Okay, so the next thing in my blue box or my blue bin, you're not going to believe, is a magazine. And why is there a magazine in my blue bin? Hey, Steve, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. So, hey, Steve, what's the do you have a channel where you show your layout or your model railroading? Curious to where the Back on Track with Steve, the title comes from. Be interested in checking that out. But you know, I hear all the time complaints about Model Railroader magazine. I've never had a problem with Model Railroader magazine, but again, the chief complaints, there's two chief complaints I hear. One is that over time, there's been more ads and less material. And hey, Mike, Trackside Mike has joined us. Welcome to the chat. Tuna salad, Mike. I don't even want to know where he got tuna salad nickname from. So that's one of the complaints, that over time there's been less material and more ads. The other one is a lot of people think it's basic and it's towards new model railroaders. I'm not a new model railroader. I don't consider myself an expert model railroader by any means, and I want to try stuff all the time. So model railroad magazines, no matter what they are intriguing to me. So this one was building an exhaust fan, scratch building it. And what intrigued me was having the exhaust fan on the side wall. I had the print shop that I did from ITLA. I wanted to put something on there. I grabbed, it was like an exhaust fan from that was designed for a locomotive cab, to put something on the wall to look like that. But this is O scale. I believe it's O scale. And he built this, and he didn't do a lot of modification. He found the tube sizes that he needed. So I want to try it. I do want to try it for HO scale for sure, because I could put these on any of my buildings. So I have to kind of do the conversions and find out if the round styrene tubing will fit what I need. And so I want to try that. So that's what intrigues me about these. And I've been trying to find, and it really frustrates me that I can't find it amongst the few magazines I have, but there is a Rock Island yard office that was made from a box car, and it was modeled off the real thing. So I'm intrigued and want to try to do that one too, but now I have to find it again. So you're new to the hobby, Steve. Well, welcome to the hobby. It's going to be frustrating, expensive, and the best hobby you'll ever love. So I appreciate you coming in. I will definitely be able to tell you how not to do things, and you'll learn a lot from the mistakes I make, because I make a lot of them. But anyway, so I want to add the other magazine with the other article about the Rock Island yard office to my blue bin, but that's why I have a magazine in there. So the next one I have is the Thompson Brothers paint. So the reason I have this one was because this wasn't a straight square building. It didn't look like all the other cornerstone buildings. It didn't look like all the other plastic buildings for the most part. It has this arch window on the front. It has the arch window here. And then it has this turret. The other thing was, it wasn't 15. It's 15 on here, but the guy sold it for me for 10. And he sold me what is it? It was the biker bar that I worked on for 10. So it was a great deal at a a swap meet plus the $5 to get in. So it was $25 for the 2 kits. And so it's one of those things where it wasn't really going to fit anywhere in my layout, but hey, it's something that intrigued me. These, I'll have to say that these bother me a little bit, and I want to do something else here, even if I can suspend that and not have support there. I don't love those, and I don't know if their parts, when they molded them, they didn't have a way to mold them thicker or different or more ornate, whatever it is. But this intrigued me it was different enough. So that got into my blue bin. So I'm going to have to, what I'm going to have to do is, I wonder if I can do anything in here, but I'm going to make sure to check out your channel, Steve. And I'm a frequent commenter on videos too. So if I have any advice I can give you, I'll throw that at you, and you can either take it or leave it, or do what you want with it. But I'm happy to have you amongst us. So the next thing is this blue Walthers box, because I can't find what I did with the top to this. But we put on, the Twin Cities division put on a trunk sale, which is basically you drive up, you open your trunk, you pull out a table, or you throw stuff in your trunk that it's model railroad or railroad related, to just to sell to other folks who want the stuff you want to get rid of. Like I sold a bunch of my N scale stuff because I'm trying to get rid of my N scale stuff. We're having another one September 7th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time. And if you're in the Twin Cities area during that time, reach out. We'll get you directions to the church parking lot where it's at, and have you come out. But somebody had donated a kit, and so I went ahead and bought it. Well, Gopher Girl basically went and bought it. She did the deal with our financial guy for the division, and it is one of the Merchants Row kits. And so it's Merchants Row 1, and is what this one is. And this will, on my current layout, I have two. That's amazing. That really is for 5 buildings. That's all of the directions. Yeah. So I can understand why people get frustrated with their directions. But anyway, I have 2 modules that I set up as a test layout to learn or teach myself how to do kind of switching operations. So I built an industrial yard, and so I saw that there, and I've always wanted Merchants Row 1 just because you can make the buildings look different enough. And if you need a road filled with merchants and things like that, and I have on one of the modules, this will fit in. Hey, Randy's here. You're always outdoors, Randy. Hey, Kyle, welcome. Nice to see you in here. So this is one I have to get. Now, this is one I could certainly build in a fairly short period of time. I think that most of this build is going to be painting and detailing for the most part, because it really is just a rectangle with not too many parts, but detailing is what would take the whole long time. So I've charged Gopher Girl with doing the paint schemes for the buildings. She wanted to do them all in the same paint scheme, and I asked her to take it back and work on paint schemes for each individual building to give them a little bit of a difference. So that was next. And I'm not done, by the way. I'm almost done, but not quite done. If you want to learn Willow Creek, if you want to learn how to scratch build a Walters kit. That's funny. Funny. So I have one of the more classic kits here called Gruesome Classic or Gruesome Casket, and it's one of the title sponsors for the Crossing Gate podcast that's put out by the Twin Cities division. And this is actually an AM kit, which was actually reproduced. I don't know what that was. My screen freaked out, but that's okay. Was reproduced from the plan shown in Model Railroad Craftsman. And so this is an older kit. I can't even fit the top on once I opened it up. It doesn't even fit in my screen here. But this is one of the few kits that before I was part of the Twin Cities I heard of. It seems to be a popular kit for people, or a popular build for people in the model railroading. And so I mean, this is it. This is a box of parts. Now, there are directions on these. They smell old. This is a very old kit. Everything seems to be in here when I went through it originally. That's why it's all kind of out of it. It had its original plastic on it, and I took it out, and now it doesn't quite fit. But when I was in New Jersey last year, I was visiting a model railroad club, and they had a little store out front, and I saw this, and it was like $10 or $8 or something like that. And I'm like, I got to get this and build this for the division. And so the motivation was there, but I didn't get to it. So the division has to wait. But yes, I have a Gruesome Casket, and I'm hoping to build it and donate it to the division to do what they would like with it, and to honor the division in some way. I don't know, build a bunch of caskets and put our sticker on a miniature version of our sticker on the caskets. I don't know what I'm going to do, but that's what I have in my blue bin, or my blue pile. So I'm curious. And not only have to park I could, when I get done with my flat car, and it's not an 85 footer, but I could put it in there and put the caskets on there for sure. And then take a picture of that with the Twin City Division logo on it. But what do you have in your own blue bins? What's on your shelves that you haven't worked on yet, or started and put aside? I'd be curious to know if I'm just crazy and everybody else does the work they say they're going to do. And I noticed that when I mentioned, oh yes, thank you for mentioning also the trunk sale, Gopher Girl. She was out there selling my N scale stuff with me, and wheeling and dealing, and then she took the money that we made and went off and bought some HO scale cars that were graffitied that look really neat as well, and paid for the merchant's row. Interesting. I'm hopeful to see that with on your channel. But Ken, you can put the blue tubs underneath your layout. You got plenty of room to do that. The other place you can use that too is, you've got that big table in that out in front of your layout. You could just use the blue bins as your table, or put the table on top of the blue bins. They make a great place to put snacks. Put some cookies and some pretzels and some good stuff. And blue bins are great for that. So there's certainly things that you can do with your space for sure. And Steve, how long have you been doing 3D printing? Do you design your own 3D prints, or are you just pulling from other people and printing on your own printer? If you go back and look at some of what I've talked about, and what I was talking about earlier with the car, is I'm attempting to build parts of the car, parts of the underbody with 3D printing as well. And obviously some of the parts for the lighting with 3D printing. And I don't have a 3D printer, but I use Onshape as my 3D print program. So, Well Creek, you're working on mobile crane, dumpsters, and pallet jack to be made. Well Creek, do you follow, is it Finger Lakes? He did a short where he showed how he did a pallet jack out of styrene. Nice. I wouldn't doubt it. If it wasn't for, I forget which club, if it was Hennepin Overland or who it was, they bought a tray of my N scale rolling stock because they needed to sell for their store. So I was really underselling because they were going to mark it up like 400% and sell in there, which still isn't much. But I don't remember if it was Hennepin Overland or if it was. Hey, Tim, even if you don't have some stuff for the trunk sale, come out and socialize and buy some stuff. If you're into N scale, I'm hopeful that I'll have the rest of my N scale stuff there as well. Yeah, same as me, Ken. We have this rule in our house where anything that Gopher Girl buys for herself to eat, she has 3 days to eat it. And if she doesn't eat it in 3 days, it's open season. So, Mom, are you asking in the chat for people to help you with your lighting projects, or are you already getting rid of me before I even get out there and help you? So, Whoa Creek, what else are you doing on the layout? Do you mean scenery that you have to do? Track work? Oh, so you're getting stuff off of Thingiverse, Steve. I look there all the time. Reach out on Facebook in the different 3D communities on Facebook, because sometimes you'll get people posting STL files in Facebook groups. So I would check some of those groups out, socialize amongst model railroad community. There's plenty of people who have that. I'm going to show you something, and unfortunately I don't remember where I got this from, but I'm going to go grab a 3D printed item and show you all. So just give me one moment. I will be right. So this was in a Zoom call, and I think it was a Zoom call, and I can't remember where it was, or it was a clinic of some sort. And so um, um, MicroMark sells these for like $19.99 or something along here. But this is for painting wheel sets. And you can see there's a 33 inch and 36 inch. So when my family member who does the 3D printing printed this, he didn't print two of each. So I've asked him to print the other ones. But essentially what you do with these is you place them in there like that, and you do your painting on there, and it completely covers over the the wheel, the part of the wheels that touch the track to keep the continuity. So and he offered this for free to people. He offered the files for free. If I can find it where it was, I'll certainly get that for you. And what's really neat about this is these. So if I'm doing a 33-inch wheel for freight rolling stock, you know, these come in and out. And then when I'm doing the passenger work, then I can put those in like that. So still waiting on the parts to be these two parts to be printed again. But this was really neat and really helpful. And there is a difference. These are 33-inch wheels that I was showing you on here. However slight, it still moves around in there. But I tested all four of these, and they're nice and tight in there. And so you're not going to get paint on the edges. So that's a 3D printed item, and this one was free. So really appreciative of that, and now just need to get the part. So that's that right there. I do eat a lot of stuff, Gopher Girl. That's definitely me. So there's a ton of CAD programs out there, Steve. So it's really about getting comfortable with the CAD program, and there are different levels. A lot of I tell people, you know, it's I'm not an expert with CAD by any means, but I've gotten comfortable with one, not so comfortable with another that I use for a different reason, but is also a CAD program. And then, you know, there are some simpler ones where it has basic shapes already printed for you. The one that I use is called Onshape. Let me pull that up real quick here. And this is one that I've gotten real comfortable with, and it's just Onshape. It's just onshape.com, and you can have and you can do this for free. And so all of your files are public if you do it for free, and then there's paid version, but you have so much that you can do. It has plugins too, so if there are plugins to use as you get more advanced, you can also use the plugins and things. It's not something I've tried. I've just kind of kept with the basic stuff. If you sign up for that and you search for, I think it's DMRJ, you should be able to find me on there. But that's Onshape, and it's pretty simple to use. There are plenty of videos out on YouTube. The one that's model railroad related, that I learned about Onshape and watched the guy do in several sessions, do a girder bridge, is New Tracks Modeling. So go search out New Tracks on YouTube. Their newtracksmodeling.com is a website for the show. It's a weekly show on Zoom and YouTube, and they did a segment on that's where I learned about Onshape. I'm quite far behind here, so sorry about that. Yours are Walther's pallet jacks. Okay, gotcha, Willow Creek. It's finger. Let me find him. He's a fantastic modeler, and he's on YouTube all the time with videos with shorts, and he did the short on with the pallet jack. I can't spell, so give me a second here. So let me get the all right, let me see if this comes up. This is his channel. Nope, that's not his channel. Hold on. That is not his channel. Let's try that again. Let's do this right. And there's his channel. He's just a fantastic modeler. He's all about the detail, industrial railroad that he's doing. So definitely check him out. So Steve, Tinkercad's a good one because that one you start with basic shapes and things. I built up a building with no measurements and things. I just wanted to try the features of it. And it's really easy to use. Most people would say that's not an advanced one, that it has some limitations, but a lot of people get their start with that one. So I think you should tinker with Tinkercad for sure. Hey, Willow Creek, is that one you just uploaded, or is that one you uploaded the other day after we talked? Because I know I watched the other one. So wondering if you have another one out there. You have a so Tim, when you say are you doing anything to those cabooses, or are you are those kits, or are you just picking them up because of the details? Hey, Trackside Mike, have you watched any of My Finger Lakes videos? I mean, detail stuff. Really, really nice detail stuff. So, I don't think I've come close. I tried to build the pallet jack, but I was nowhere near getting that one done. Let me see if I can remember how to. I always have problems with remembering my passwords for Onshape, but let's see if it pulls it up. Let me see if I saved it correctly on here. No, let's see here. right, so I'm going to share again. I'll show you my page here. Maybe. All right. So this is basically the studio in there, and then it features the last projects I've worked on. Of course, that's me in there. You'd actually have to search for me, search for DMRJ. Let's see, it might bring up other things. All right, and it might be because, okay, I'm in owned by me, so you have to go to public. And if I put in DMRJ, let's see, lots of things. Okay, so there, I searched in public. So when you go, you still have to register, give them your email address and all that, and get registered on here. But then you can take a look at the things I have been working on. And this bridge here, which is NTM Build Along, that's the bridge that you can find the videos on New Tracks Modeling and follow along and do the bridge build that I did. The stationary tank bottom was a part that I built, and it looks like there might be some other things that are links that are maybe broken, but I built supports, like designed to be cement supports for a tank that I was using for a tank car to drop off fuel, and then local fuel dealer to use that tank. And so it had a metal frame to it, and so I pulled the whole metal frame off instead of just trying to cut parts off. Created the underbody that fit mostly. It's not a perfect fit, but it fit mostly in there. So that's that's the top one there where you see the three pieces. That's the underbody I did. There I was, the second project I was trying to make claws for to hold paper rolls. And there is somebody coming out with commercial 3D print of those. And I've given up on trying to build those. And so we'll probably buy the 3D print. I just picked a depot off, simple depot off the internet, and tried to build that as well. So, Tim, is that something that you've put up that I can take a look at on your channel? Look for those boxcars. Hey, good morning, Monsville Railways. Happy to have you here. Glad you could wake up to our stream today. So anyway, so those are my builds. There are other other railroad type or model railroad type builds on Onshape that are public that you can check out too. These are just my humble attempts at doing these projects. So definitely not, my projects are definitely not professional in any way or accurate, but you can see the things I did. And as you get to know Onshape, because they're public, you could pull these in and make your own out of, you can basically steal, is what that comes out to. So if you're going to do anything commercial, you'll want to make sure that your stuff's not public. So that's all. So that's my Onshape on there. So, and yes, that was a link to Boomer's stuff that was on Finger Lakes Railways channel. Boomer's another one to check out if if you're new to model railroading, don't if you're new to scratch building, I would say he's a great one to check out. Don't get intimidated by him. He did it professionally for in the movie industry, so his skills are advanced. But they give you great ideas to try. He takes you through everything that he does. He talks to you in the comments, so if you have questions for him, he'll answer them. He's done that for me. And he'll tell you what materials to use and things like that. So, well, some of us wake up at lunchtime too, Monsil. I wish I could, but I'm a working stiff, so I got to get up in the morning and work. So, yeah. So, what else do people have in their blue bins that they really wanted to um, work on and haven't gotten to it? Oh, so it's late afternoon there, Willow Creek. So yeah, but so with the medicine that I take and everything, by 2 o'clock, I get so tired that I can't, like, when I'm working, I have to get up and walk around. I don't drink coffee or anything. I don't intake caffeine. So it's a real struggle for me around 2 to 3 o'clock to work. And then, I work till about 4 p.m. local time, give or take, whatever I have to work on. So, yeah. But like I said, what else are people wanting to work on and haven't done it? And is it because it doesn't fit your layout, your time period, or are they just dream things that you really want to work on at some point? Or are you all so good that you have no blue bins and you have no projects to work on because you finish one, get to another, finish another? Because we could all use some of that mojo if you have that. Have a great weekend, Mike. Thanks for stopping in. Oh, let me see if I can also random thought. That's a not all kinds of things over. I was talking about what could I do about the windows? So here are, let's see if you can see them. Here are the windows that came with the kits for the passenger cars. See, they're dark, and I kind of want you to be able to see inside. And I know that it'll be going by, you won't be able to see a lot, and you can, I don't know, you can't see it on the camera, but you can. There's a fair bit you can see through these, but they're still dark. So I do not want to have to measure out and figure out how to scratch build, put together clear plastic to put on there. But if that's what I have to do, I might have to do it. So I'm open to any ideas that anybody might have on how to combat that. That's what I was talking about earlier. Okay. So Monsville, for your river, are you going to have some rapids on there? Are you going to do just a lazy river, a calm river? Definitely, Boomer has some ideas on how to paint the surface or how to do the surface of the river. I think he uses GAC 500 for that, but don't quote me. He has videos on that for sure. So, Ken, so is it the YouTube scratch building in styrene? I haven't been able to find YouTube stuff that much on there, so I've just gone to their website. So There, I don't know if it's specialized, but trying to find a flat car build on YouTube is not an easy one. Have a good night, Tim. Thank you for stopping in. Okay, so it's kind of a gorge across your layout. So are you gonna have some areas of, not maybe not rapids, but some areas of activity and some areas of like little side eddies that are smooth. Of course, I'll have to take a look at your work, but just curious where you're at with that. So let's see if I can find anything else. So I looked up Lonestar Region Flat Car Clinic on the YouTube, and one of my videos pops up. The top one is a Racing Lone Star Drift Clinic, so you can learn how to drift. And there's a lot, and then some other icky stuff that comes up. But there isn't much that I find on YouTube when it comes to that. And there's some older videos with scratch building that have come up, but yeah, I haven't been able to find much on there. And I don't know if they have anything listed. I mean, I did a channel for the Lone Star doesn't come up for me. So just curious if they have anything. Don't really see much on their website. And so these are all like PDF clinics that they have. So it's possible that you might look at a clinic or an author of a clinic to see if they have something on the YouTube, but I really didn't find anything. And the fact that my little channel has a video pops up tells you how little there is on it. As I was just looking at the clinic paperwork to see if they had any, and they don't really have anything on their clinics either. So no, I couldn't help you there on that. So all right. Well, it's we've been on for about an hour and 22 minutes, and been talking model railroading for all that, and I really appreciate everybody stopping in and talking model railroading with me, and I hope that you get to your blue bin items. I don't know when I'll get to my blue bin items, but I'm going to keep in mind that if I'm getting stuck on something that I'm building, that I don't necessarily have to jump right into another part of the build, another part of the AP program. I could take a break. I don't want to take too much of a break. I really want us to try and stay focused on it. I am trying to I'm trying to figure out a way. Videos count for authorship with the AP at about half the rate of actual articles. I have tons of stuff that promotes the NMRA, that talks about model railroading for sure. That's all what I talk about on mine. But what they strictly could say would be informative is probably about the Goldman Spike. So I probably only have 2 videos that would count towards it. So I'm looking to write some articles. My biggest problem with that is I don't have pictures of stuff, and so I'm going to have to create stuff. So when I do an article, I'm going to have to create and go. And so I might try to put together a clinic that I could do in clinic form, and maybe also write up something. But that's next. That's something that I want to try and fill in gaps too. So not all just building models and stuff. Yeah, yep. Digger Evans stuff is he's a really good modeler. And I like the stuff he's done because he's done some urban stuff that I like as well. And hey Ken, you're welcome for the entertainment. Have a good night. Go get something done. Um, but yeah, so that's what I'm, trying to focus on is the AP program. Um, I'm, I'm halfway there probably with the volunteer certificate for the work I do with the Twin Cities division. Um, I'm not really that close on anything else, but I'm really starting to get moving on it. And that's part of the reason I do this as well. But I also want to, get to know everybody in the hobby and communicate with them. And there are tons of live streams out there. But I thought it would be something that would help me stay on topic and get things done. So I really appreciate all of you coming and joining me and seeing what I'm doing. And I hope it inspires you to just jump in and just try whatever it is you want to try. It doesn't have to be model railroading, although that is the best hobby. Um, but really appreciate everybody being here. Um, and yeah, Steve, you're welcome. And I'm glad you enjoyed the conversation and have a great night and check back and anything we can help you with, we will absolutely help you with. The whole community will. So wanted to say have a good night to everybody and remember to just jump in.